So on to the fourth we go. Jackets threatening there, getting a couple runners into scoring position, but they can't score. And we're now joined in the broadcast booth by Yellowjacket women's basketball junior Alisha Breen. Alisha, welcome aboard here for the fourth inning.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, you got to throw out the first pitch here today. Talk about that experience, what you were preparing for, and take us through that moment.
It was definitely something I have never done before. So I was really nervous. There we go. But it was really fun. Junior Cody Cooper, he's in some of my classes, so it was really neat getting to go out there with him, talk to him a little bit before the game. So it was really fun. It was a great experience.
Did he give you any tips when you got out there on the mound to throw a fastball or any pitch grips, anything like that?
No, he just told me to make it over the plate pretty much.
That's all that matters.
So.
And Cooper retiring the first batter here on a ground out to Durbin. So, Alisha, let's talk about your season. Another great year for the Yellowjackets. You guys made it to your second NCAA regional the last 3 years, the second one of your career. A season that maybe didn't start out the best, but you guys really came together. Talk about the transition there.
That's exactly right. We had a really tough preseason playing the national runner-up and another team, a couple teams that had been to regionals in the past few years. We knew starting off with that it might be rough, but it would make us better come postseason time. And making it to regionals is just an experience all on its own. I was lucky enough to make it there my freshman year. So then making it as a junior too, so the younger classmen know what it's like. So we know that next year we want to get there again. It's really quite the experience.
And talk about that first regional you made it to. You were a true freshman and team was a little banged up. You ended up being in a starting role by that time in the season, and then talk about how that experience kind of helped you get ready for doing it again this year.
Oh, it was huge. Just the fact, it was a freshman, and I wasn't forced into my role, but I definitely had to step up, and it was either step up or, you're going to lose what playing time that you did have. And then getting there, it was nice being able to tell the younger girls, what to expect. You're playing at somebody else's home court, especially when you have to face the number 1 seed, but the memories that you make there definitely last a lifetime, and I can remember it like it was yesterday. So it was really fun.
Cooper now working to Darren Honeyset, struggling a bit with his command. He issued his first walk of the game to Atkinson, the leadoff man for the Cats, so he's right back in the stretch here. And Alisha, you mentioned you know Coop, you've had some classes with him, you guys same age in school there, and when he's having a season like this where he's not only the best pitcher on the team, but one of the best in the GNAC. Talk about how that kind of naturally makes you into a leader, just a player that your teammates look up to.
Oh, completely. Coop and I are in the same major, so we've been in classes since we were freshmen, and seeing him develop into the player that he has is just really neat. He's such a great kid, and I think like you said, he's just a natural leader, and it's exciting seeing him be at the top of the GNAC and just all the accolades that he's getting leading this team. It's really fun.
2-1 now the count to Darren Honeyset. Swing and a miss, fooled him with the off speed there. And speaking of accolades, you were one to get a couple of those yourself. You led the entire GNAC in scoring this season, 17.4 points a game, a first team all-league pick as a junior. And when you set out as a season, you set team goals, you set personal goals, and I don't know if you set a personal goal to lead the conference in scoring. Maybe it's something you set out there and say, if I can do that, great. But then you go out and you do it. Talk about that and kind of how that fits into your mindset and helps lead the team.
It was the past 2 years we've always had big scorers ahead of me, and it was kind of, you get what points you get, and there we go. You get what points you get, and coming into this season, I knew that losing Kayleen, she was 20 points a game, that I might have to step up a little bit. And the team's really good, about finding me in open spots, whether it's on the outside or down in the paint. So I just took what I could get, and it ended up compiling by the end of the year.
And I think the guests in the booth have been a good luck charm this season. You're the third one we've had, and all 3 times the Jackets have gotten out of an inning with a double play. So
well, there we go.
Go figure that out. But like you were mentioning, Jackets just a tradition in recent years of excellent scores. Of course, the All-American Bobby Knudsen a couple years ago. broke at the time the GNAC career scoring mark, and then last year Kayleen Goggins averaging up around 20 points a game. And talk about that connection you have with playing with players like that, younger, and now you're that type of player that the team relies on.
Both of them were great captains, great senior leaders, upperclassmen leaders, and I looked up to them. I mean, I still look up to them. I still talk to both of them. And as I've gotten older, Bobby especially, she helped me a lot through it last year, even though she was gone. And this year, too, they just, because, when you are scoring that many points, you worry that, whether you're taking too many shots or not enough. But they said, they've been there, so they've helped me through it. And then now that I'm to this point, they've definitely molded me into the player that I am. That's somebody to look up to, because I want to be just like them. They're great players for the program and great people all around.
As we take in the setting here at Dehler Park, talking with Yellowjacket women's basketball junior Alisha Breen. As we look out around the crowd, look down to our right, we see Janelle Olson down there. Certainly one of the biggest parts of your team this season. Give us your thoughts on her coming back after the torn ACL and setting the MSUB career rebounding mark, first in Yellowjacket history to get 1,000 rebounds, and for her to come back and do what she did, that just was really crucial for the team.
It really was. There's not very many people that can come back from a knee injury to that extent and do what she did. Being 5'10", she's undersized, but to lead, I mean, she was like second in GNAC, I think, in rebounding, and then breaking all the records, really shattering all the records at MSUB. It was really neat. It was great having her back on the court. We definitely missed her last year. She's just such a presence. She brings a certain element to the team, whether it's that feistiness or, get after it, that she gets everybody to work a little bit harder. So we're definitely going to miss her next year. Both of our seniors were huge parts to our team.
Janelle was another key player on that team when you made the run the first year in the regional. Now she got hurt right around the end of that season and didn't really get to play much in the regional, but she was still part of that team that set that culture and got you guys there. And just talk about that culture that the team does have. You're primarily Montanans, almost all Montanans, and talk about why that's special and why that is a team that you guys can win with.
The fact that we're all from Montana, I think people don't think much about it, but then when you're on the team, we all have that same, you have the Class C girls and you have the Class AA, but really we're all from small towns in the big realm. You look at people that are from Seattle and from Hawaii and different places, but really we're like a family. It's funny, if we didn't know each other before coming to MSUB, we at least knew of each other. We knew we all played each other in different sports. And there's just a bond and there's a bond that we definitely have formed, that we play for one another, I guess, and it's really cool, the cohesiveness. We hang out outside of basketball, we're a family on the court, just a little bit of everything. I think there's probably 4 or 5 girls in the crowd here today that came out to support. We just can't get enough of each other, I guess.
Yeah, we see Riley Kane and Lexi Prevo walking back. They were watching you throw that first pitch out, and you talk about small towns. They're from Red Lodge and Sydney, respectively. You're from Choteau, and it may be a small town, but the team came out to represent when you guys were on Root Sports. You had quite a crowd there. A couple of guys, I guess they're the high school wrestling team, if I'm not mistaken, had their chest painted to support you. Talk about what it means to be from a small town and to come here to Billings. You guys all kind of just come together here in the major city in Montana and represent your smaller colors.
Yeah, that was, that whole day, the game, the Root Sports game, the pink game, everything was just a little bit better. And then the fact that when your hometown shows up and paints your chest, those boys were all freshmen when I was a senior in high school, and I had them in like my study hall, and they were in band. We were on the track team together, so you had all those connections. And being from a small town, actually, I played Little League Baseball with a bunch of them too, so you just have the connections that you don't grow out of. And the fact that they came to MSUB and were completely fine with being high school kids in a college setting, and they were going to do what they were going to do. And that plays a huge part. We know small towns definitely support their kids. I don't know how many times they'll go home and people, older individuals, 80-year-olds, have figured out how to run the computer just so they can watch our games online. So it's really neat. I love where I came from, and I love all the support I get still here in Billings.
Adam Cox goes down swinging, and boy, Mackenzie Gall's got it working. he retires the side in order here in the fourth. And Alisha, thanks for joining us here in the inning. And
Sure.
just give us your final thoughts on next season's team. You're coming off a successful year, and it'll be your senior season.
It will. It's hard to believe that I've been here for 3 years already, and I'm going into my fourth. But, you know, like I said, we lost 2 great seniors, but we return a lot of players. I've got big hopes for next year and hope to make it back to that regional tournament and maybe get a couple more wins.
Well, best of luck to you. We know that you'll get back to working on your shot instead of your pitches. But thanks for throwing out the first pitch today, and thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having me.